welcome back to our next episode of The Hormone Cafe. Today, we're going to talk about how to have the best day and how to have the best week. We're not going to talk about the perfect day because it's okay if we're not completely perfect, but we want to shoot for that. We want to shoot for our almost perfect day or almost best day. I had a patient yesterday. Her name was Amy. She was 55 years old, and she came to me and she said, I feel horrible. I'm so exhausted all the time. I'm super duper stressed. And we talked about that. And she said, I've been to so many different functional medicine doctors. She said, Dr. P, I've literally done everything in the book. She said, I've done detoxes. I've done gut cleanses. She's done months where she only drinks juice for 30 days in a row. She's done cleanses where she'll do 36-hour fast every 5 days. And she was extremely dedicated and extremely disciplined. And I said, okay, well, where are you now? And she said, now I eat fast food all the time. I'm constantly eating junk food. I eat a ton of sugar and I eat terrible. And she said, Dr. P, I wish there was just a pill that you could give me that I could just take and it would be all the nutrients that I need. And I said, Amy, whoa. I said, that's not what we do. Like, that is the exact opposite of what we do. We're not just going to give you some magic pill that's going to solve all your problems. Her problem is in dedication. She's extremely dedicated. If you tell her to do this really specific, highly intense gut protocol for 60 days, she can do it. Her problem is consistency. She can do anything for 30 days, but she just could not keep it consistent. So for years and years and years, she'd been ping-ponging between tons of different gut protocols and diets and supplements. And at the end of all that, where was she? She's feeling terrible and she's eating terrible. So we need to get Amy to a place where she can have some kind of consistency, right? We know she has the dedication. We know she has the drive. We just need to keep it consistent for a long time, because that is the biggest problem, is she wasn't able to maintain any of it because it was way too intense and way too strict. It's extremely hard to do a 36-hour fast every 5 days for your entire life, and it's terrible for your hormones. So we need to get to a place in our lives where we have a lot of consistency, right? We don't need to be perfect. I always advise the 80-20 rule with most things. Like 80% of the time, let's be really, really good. Let's have a savory diet. Let's eat lots of protein, get our vegetables in. So 20% of the time we can have treats, because that is what's sustainable. So it made me think of, let's outline our best day and our best week, okay? So this is going to be my homework for you, is we're going to outline our best day that we want and our best week that we want. So I recommend that you start with your goals, okay? And I'm going to tell you about my goals, and we'll kind of walk through that, and then what I wrote down for my ideal day and my best week. And then I want you to tailor that to you, okay? So number one, I want you to start with your goals. So write down 5 goals that you have for your day or your week. So for example, my goals are, I want to eat 80 grams of protein a day, because one big problem that I was having is that I was having these really bad energy crashes where I would just feel horrible right around 2 to 4 in the afternoon, and I would just feel zonked and exhausted all the time. So I want to have 80 grams of protein a day, and most importantly, like more important than the protein, is that I don't want to have energy crashes, right? I want to have really great energy all day long. And then I want to work out 3 days a week. More would be better, of course, but that might be just isn't practical in my life right now. So I want to do a combination of cardio and weights. Number 3 is that I always want to do self-improvement and constant learning. I love learning. I always want to learn new things. I'm a sponge and I love all kinds of new information. And so I want to make sure that I get that in my life literally every single day. Number 4 is that I want to have high quality time with my kids. Sometimes it's easy to just exist and you go through your entire day and you never spent high quality time with maybe your coworker, your kids, your friend, your husband. So I really want to be intentional about having like true high quality time with my kids. And I also want to be intentional about having true high quality time with my husband. So those are my 5 goals of the day. So then you want to write down your goals and try to make them as specific as possible. So for me, my goal is to have 20 minutes of high quality time with my kids every single day. which doesn't sound like a lot, but if it's high quality time, sometimes 20 minutes is all you need to make a good memory and to make your kids or your husband or somebody else in your life, your friend, your mom, feel loved and cared for. And it's better to be practical than it is to be perfect. Yeah, maybe I would love to have an hour of high quality time with my kids every day, but maybe that's not practical. Let's shoot for 20 minutes, way more practical, way easier to get that in. So I'm going to have a PDF at the bottom of this podcast in notes, and I want you to print out the PDF, and I want you to go minute by minute, hour by hour, and I want you to write down what you want your ideal day to look like, okay? So let's walk through what this is for me. So for me, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I work out from 6 to 6:15. 15 minutes, it's not that long, I know, but I really don't like going to the gym. In a perfect world, I would love to go to the gym for a really long period of time, but that's not practical in my life right now. So I want to do 15 minutes at least, because if I'm consistent, if I can do 15 minutes 3 days a week, then at least I'll get some kind of a workout in. And then I alternate between weights and cardio. So the easiest thing for me, I have a workout app on my phone. I play my 15-minute workout. I have my weights right there ready to go. I get out of bed, work out right away. That's just the easiest thing that works for me and my body. Well, another thing that really helps me is to lay out my workout clothes the night before, because I am not a morning person. For those of you who see me at 7 a.m. when we first start our patient day, not a morning person. So I need to set myself up for success so that when I wake up in the morning, I'm motivated to work out. So I have my workout app ready to go. I have my weights right there. I have my workout clothes ready to go. So I don't have any excuses. I just try to make it really easy for myself. And then another thing that I really try to prioritize in the morning, and I've come a long way, right? With all of us, health is a journey, right? Maybe we started somewhere and we're trying to go somewhere. So for me, I always make myself drink a big glass of water. So number one, I make myself drink a big glass of water in the morning. So have a workout, drink a huge glass of water, and then I always prioritize having a high protein breakfast. So from 6:30 to 6:45, I make sure that we have high protein breakfast. My go-to is yogurt. Like 1 cup of full-fat plain Greek yogurt is 20 grams of protein. And then I put some berries and chia seeds on it to get fiber and antioxidants. And then after I eat my high protein breakfast, then I allow myself to have coffee. So I have 1 cup of coffee a day. I don't put any sugar in it. I do heavy whipping cream because I don't really like drinking black coffee. I think it's too bitter. If you can't tolerate black coffee, great. Black coffee's awesome. But I usually do heavy whipping cream, and then oftentimes I'll do a scoop of protein powder just to get some extra protein in my coffee. I love heavy whipping cream because it only has protein and fat, and it doesn't have any sugar, and it tastes delicious. So that's my little routine in the morning. And does it happen every single morning? No, but my goal is that it happens 80% of mornings so I can get in my water, get in my breakfast, get in my workout. And then I leave for work, and my commute is about 15 minutes. So from 6:45 to 7 a.m., I always do an audiobook in the car because I really want to have scheduled time where I'm learning something. So I do a ton of audiobooks about women's health, right? Thyroid and nutrition and gut. I'm always trying to be on the cutting edge of those type of things. And I also read books about how to be a better parent, how to be a better business owner. So I alternate between all kinds of different books because I want to have a lot of diverse learning, and I want to make sure that I have that in my life every single day. So I start work at 7 a.m. For those of you who come at 7 a.m., maybe you'll have to bring me some coffee because like we talked about, I'm not a morning person and might be a little groggy at 7. But then, so I see patients from 7 and then I have lunch at 12:30, and I make a little goal. So I have this Stanley water bottle that's 40 ounces of water, and I make a goal that I need to drink 1 Stanley by lunch. So if I've spent the whole morning and I didn't drink any water, then I chug a bunch of water at lunch to try to make sure that I did my 1 Stanley. And then I always make sure I have a high protein lunch with 20 to 30 grams of protein and 2 vegetables. And we'll talk about this later, but I always prep my lunch the night before because otherwise I am not a person that I don't really have time in my day to go out and grab something. And if I did, it wouldn't be healthy anyway. And so if I didn't pack my lunch, I literally wouldn't eat lunch all day long. I would just power through the whole day and I wouldn't eat anything, which is terrible for you. You don't want to have fasting windows of longer than 4 hours. Of course, that's body dependent, right? Some of us do better with longer fasting windows than not. So I need to set myself up for success, and I pack my lunch literally every single day. Like I always plan for lunch. I always plan for my protein, and I always put 2 vegetables into my lunch every single day. So if all else fails, maybe I don't eat lunch until 3, even if it's not perfect, I'll have some protein and some vegetables. Or maybe if I get hungry earlier and I feel like I need a snack at 10 o'clock, then I start with some vegetables and I have some snacks packed in my lunch. So that's just a super important part of my routine, because maybe I see patients all the way through lunch and I don't actually get to sit down and eat lunch, and it's not ideal. Maybe I have to snack throughout the day, but no matter what, I still have my protein and still have my veggies. Even if it's not in one lunch, I still have it throughout the time of the day. So I schedule in my lunch. I make sure that I pack my lunch. Another thing that had really helped me is that I have done continuous glucose monitoring. So I kind of know how often I need to eat and what's going to spike my blood sugar and what's not. For example, things that I've just learned are I try not to have a lot of carbohydrates for breakfast, because then it'll make me feel really tired and sluggish. I try to push all my carbohydrates either to lunch or dinner, because then I just don't feel as tired and sluggish. Also, I used to do things like I used to make a wrap every single day, and I thought I was being super healthy because I would put all these vegetables in it and all this meat. And I found out that tortillas were really, really, really spiking my blood sugar. So now it's not that I never have a tortilla. I just found this bread, and I do an open-faced sandwich, 1 slice of bread, so I can get a 1-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio. And I found this bread that doesn't spike my blood sugar, because I was realizing that one of the reasons that I was crashing in the middle of the afternoon, because I wasn't having enough protein for breakfast, and then I was having something at lunch that just made my blood sugar spike and then crash, and then I was feeling horrible. So now I really prioritize a lunch that it does have carbohydrates, but it has protein and vegetables, and it's much more rounded out, so then I maintain my blood sugar and I don't crash. So I have my lunch. Sometimes it's not perfect, and when it isn't perfect, I still have the protein and the vegetables and some other sources of food. I don't just go the entire day with not eating anything. And then I leave work at 4, and I am a kind of person that I get really hungry and hangry in the middle of the afternoon, and then I would tend to go home and then just eat something really, really bad because I was so hungry. I would go home, and then I would just eat a bunch of potato chips or something like that, and then I wouldn't be hungry for dinner. So now what I do is I have a high protein snack in the car on the way home. So I either have a couple beef sticks or a bunch of nuts or a couple cheese sticks or a little package of tuna, something like that, because then I'm not ragingly hungry when I get home, and it's enough to tide me over, keep my blood sugar stable, and then I'm still hungry for dinner, and it makes me feel great. Another thing that I do is I try to get 80 ounces of water in the day. So I drink 40 in the morning, like we talked about, and then 40 in the afternoon. So if I haven't drinking any water in the afternoon, I try to do another 40 ounces in the car on the way home. So I try to use my commutes to make me as healthy as possible, because that's just a practical thing that I can do in my life. So another thing that I do is I schedule in high quality time with the kids, right? So for me, from 4 to 5:30, that's my high quality time with my kids. That's when I'm just focused on kids. That's my time to do that thing. So if there's a thing that you want to do, then just make sure you literally schedule it into your day, okay? So write it in your day, right? Maybe you want to get better at tennis. Maybe you want to do embroidery. Maybe you want to knit. Maybe you want to be a better friend and you want to call your friends at a certain time every single day. Schedule that in, okay? Put that in your ideal day in your calendar. And then I have dinner and dishes in there. And then I put my kiddos to bed. And then I have a time that I call podcasting clean. So I really don't like cleaning the house. Nobody does, but I try to put on a good podcast so that I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, get my house clean and podcast and do dishes. So the things that I'm working on are being consistent with workout and being consistent with taking my vitamins, because I'm really, really bad at taking pills. So I need to have that scheduled in my day and make it easy for myself, like put all my vitamins in the car so I can take my vitamins on the way to work. And if all else fails, at least I'm in the car twice, so I have 2 opportunities to take my vitamins at least 5 days a week. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to print out your calendar, and I want you to write out your ideal day, okay? Schedule things in from every single minute of every single day so that you know exactly what you're doing on every day. Because if you put a goal like, oh, I want to work out 3 times a week, but then you literally don't schedule it in, you're not going to be able to do that. It's just not physically going to be possible in your life, okay? So I want you to write out your best day. The other thing that I want you to write out is your best week, okay? Because, for example, maybe you're not going to have every single day the same. So I want you to take your day, and then I want you to make every single day of the week. So I want you to write out Monday all day long, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because maybe it's helpful to have scheduled days of the week. So for example, in my life, I have certain things that we do on certain days. So Monday, I call Maintenance Monday. So Monday is the day that everyone in the family, we clean out our ears and we clip our fingernails and we clean our rooms and we clean our house. And that's the day that we clean. And so there are certain days of the week for certain things. So for example, for us, Thursday night, we have date night. So Thursday night is scheduled date night. And even if it's in-home date night, so we try to shoot for every week we do a date night, and then once a week we go out for the date night. So sometimes we'll do an at-home date night where we'll just sit on the porch and either have a glass of wine or eat something fun and plan and talk and do something where me and my husband get to spend high quality time together. And then once a month, we do a date night out where we go to dinner or we love sushi, so we'll go to sushi or we'll do something fun together. So it's really helpful to have your day scheduled and then your week scheduled. Another big thing is that we do is every single night, I always prep lunch for the next day. And if you're a person who is not good at that, outsource it to your husband or outsource it to somebody that can hold you accountable. So my husband knows that we need to prep our lunch every single day. So if I forget to prep the lunch, then he'll prep our lunches. So every single night we have it into our calendar that we make lunch for the next day. So we always have a healthy lunch every single day and a bunch of healthy snacks. So we'll make lunch, put a bunch of healthy snacks because I am not a morning person. So when I wake up in the morning, that's just not a great time for me to prep lunch. So I already need it to be in the fridge so I can just grab it ready to go and go to work. If you're a morning person, maybe it's better for you in your schedule to prep your lunch in the morning. But even if you work from home, I highly recommend that you prep your lunch because it seems easier when you work from home, but I think it's actually harder because it's easier to just graze, go grab something in the fridge here and there. But it's very important to prep so you know how much protein you're getting for lunch, making sure you're having good high-quality snacks, high-quality protein, and 2 vegetables in a perfect world for lunch. So even if you work from home, I highly recommend prepping your lunch in some way so that you have a go-to, something that you can eat, so you're not just popping back and forth to the fridge, snacking all day long. So it's really, really important to schedule into your life time to prep. The next thing I would recommend is it's helpful to have a big day where you prep the whole week. So for example, Sunday is our meal prep. So we do things like make a big egg bake so that we can have an egg bake that we just heat up for breakfast in the morning. Or that Sunday's our day to do our grocery shopping where we'll get a bunch of groceries and then make sure that we have a protein for dinner every single meal for the next 5 days, that kind of a thing. So you want to have usually a little time every single day where you can prep for the next day. And then you want to have a bigger prep day in your week where you can prep for the whole week, because the essential thing to being healthy and eating healthy is to prep. You have to prep, you have to plan in some way. And if you're not good at that, don't force yourself to do something that you're just not good at. Help and use your resources to help you. So oftentimes, use your roommates, use your husband, use your friends, somebody in your life that can help you stay accountable and be healthy. For example, my sister-in-law, she's like, I'm so bad at going to the gym. So she brings her boyfriend with her. They both have an Orange Theory Fitness membership. And so they go to Orange Theory 3 times a week together because she's like, I'm really bad at going to the gym by myself. So I have an accountability buddy. So use your accountability buddies, have somebody help you. We're not always going to be good at all these things. So it's really important that we use our resources. So for example, if you're not a morning person, you're a night owl, use your nights to set you up for success for the next morning. If you are a morning person, make sure you schedule your morning so you can get in all the things that you need to set you up for success for the day. So the biggest takeaway is that this is your homework for the week, okay? I want you to print out 7 of the daily worksheets, okay? And then I want you to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and write down all the things in your day. But the first thing is that I want you to start by writing out your goals, okay? Write out your goals for the day, write out your goals for the week, and then schedule your goals into your life on a minute-by-minute basis. And you might say, oh my gosh, Sarah, this is so much work. Like if I schedule things, then I won't be able to be spontaneous. But the problem is that if you don't schedule it, it literally won't happen. So it's better to be scheduled and slightly less spontaneous than to be super spontaneous and then we don't meet any of our goals, because we do not want to go to a place where we're just ping-ponging back and forth between we exercise a ton and then we fall off the wagon. We eat really good for 30 days and then we fall off the wagon. We want to be really good 80% of the time. So 20% of days are days where we don't have to work out. We get to have ice cream. I have a patient who has what she calls Sunday, right? She eats ice cream sundaes on Sunday, and then that's her treat day for the week. So I really want you to make sure that you fit your goals into your day, because consistency is so much more important than perfection, okay? Consistency is what will give you lifelong health, not just health for a short period of time or to meet a really short and specific goal. So if that's your homework for the day, I want you to fill out your homework and then email it to me, sarahpederson@verafertility.com. I want to know what's going well and then what you're working on. And if you need help, if you want us to sit down with you, if you need an accountability buddy, please do not hesitate to make an appointment with either me, or we also have a dietitian who is really, really helpful with some of these practical things. So do not give up on yourself. Consistency is your theme of the week, of the month, of the year. Okay? Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Hormone Cafe, and we can't wait for you to join for our next episode.